This is the only way to make money in property investing as a beginner, and that is not wholesaling, fix and flipping, or brokerage. In fact, the three principles I will cover in this video are actually pretty simple, yet not so many decide to do them. Keep watching as I will share my own experiences, good and bad, on how you can start your property investing journey the right way. With that, the first principle is leveraging other people's money. When you start in property investing, you don't actually have a big capital. So the best thing to do is actually look around and see ways or opportunities on how you can actually raise some funds from maybe friends and family or any other connections in your own circle. A pretty simple concept, the FFF, or friends, family, and fools, could be applied in this case to raise your very first initial capital that you can use your down payment. With your very first investment, you will probably look at getting either a studio or a one bedroom, so you don't necessarily need a very big down payment. And that's exactly why reaching out to your very own circle might actually help you start it quickly and not wait and look around for too long. Perhaps you might want to think on how you're going to explain them on the purpose of the money, how you're going to spend it. Maybe you can make some financial calculations so they also get a return from this investment. You might also look at doing a crowdfunding campaign or a Kickstarter page, which will literally help you raise the very first small deposit that it's required for you to pay that first deposit. The key in this first step is to actually go around any opportunity possible and try to raise that first initial sum of money that's required for your investment and not wait for too long or postpone this forever. The second way on how you can use and leverage other people's money is to actually use your credit cards and overdrafts for that initial down payment, but only do that if you are certainly sure that in the next month you're going to be able to cover it. Let's imagine you wanted to start this journey for some time now and you actually found a very good deal and you only need, let's say, an extra 15 to 20,000 USD to actually invest. And by using your credit cards or overdrafts, you actually don't postpone this deal, and a good deal, when it comes, you should grab it. Most importantly, if you actually know that you can cover these expenses in the next month, be that from your salary or any other income that you might receive, then you should definitely consider this option. A more difficult way on how you can leverage other people's money is to also pitch to the investors. If you know some or you know some people who know other investors, it could be in your circle or externally, but for that you actually need to do an investment model and present them some financial calculations so they understand how they can actually return their money if they decide to lend you that money. In this case, although you have to understand that investors are looking for very high returns, so you need to actually find the right deal for them where it's actually interesting for them to take that money that they hardly earned and give it to you instead of putting them in a bank or any other opportunity. So basically leverage that opportunity cost for them. By leveraging other people's money, you not only save for your first down payment or even for your next investments, but you can actually use this method to save or invest in your apartment costs and anything that comes with refurbishing it or maintaining it. Which is why it's important to not forget your network, because it can actually be super helpful when you just start with this investment journey. The second principle is creative property finance. Here, you always have a bank involved, and that includes bank loans, mortgages, refinancing, or any other kind of deal that might come around with the bank. If you do have a good credit history or you are actually employed currently and you have some savings, then the bank that you work with will most probably want to lend you some money. So that's why you should actually go and check in on what kind of opportunities you could be offered and what's available for you. You might not need a mortgage. So in this case, the bank that you are with for the past few months, they usually require it to be more than a year. However, if you have a good credit history, you paid all your bills on time and anything else, all your credit cards as well, then the bank might be able to lend you some money in forms of a loan. In the case of creative property financing, there is a lot of thinking behind involved and a lot of planning and calculation. However, if you do come across a really good deal and you don't have actually the full amount of money to cover for it, and at the same time you are eligible to get a mortgage, for example, then this could be a superb solution for you, as you might cover and pay for that deal and pay your mortgage for a few months before actually reselling that property and making a margin on it. You might also close the deal yourself, but then go to your bank and refinance that deal and get all your money back under the very good percentage that the bank will offer to you. And if you already rent it out to someone, then you will actually have a person who's paying for your mortgage payments, and you will also have the profit left behind. This is called a refinance with equity, which literally means that you are getting money back for your own equity, and then you are liable to pay that loan going on. However, another type is also refinancing on the percentage interest rate, which will help you to pay less per month. And that's also a very interesting way how you can save on more in the long term. I personally prefer very much creative property financing and have used it for the majority of my initial deals, as I was employed at the time and had a very good credit score and a permanent salary coming in every month, which would allow me to borrow to a very good sum of money, and that would cover for my first couple of mortgages, actually, not only one. So if you imagine that in the future you have some options to buy not only one apartment, let's say in that building, and there are 3 or 4 or even 1 floor, then you would be actually eligible to benefit from mortgages for all of them from your bank if you have a permanent, good, high, stable income that you can prove, and the bank can lend you the money. In that exact case, you will be one of the majority owners on that building or on the floor, so you would be able to actually dictate your own prices in the future when you want to resell it. However, if you are looking for just stable, regular side income every single month, then you can just use the mortgages or the loans in a way of generating you some extra cash. And by that, I mean that the tenant will pay for your mortgage monthly payment, and you will also have some extra income aside, which is coming on top of the mortgage payment and will generate you the profit. Also, if you want to know more about creative property financing and some other interesting ways on how you can use it to make more of it and make more income out of it as well, then you can also reach out either via Instagram or LinkedIn, or also via email, and I will be happily taking you on one-to-one sessions or the property investment advisory course. Now, the third principle is actually buying and selling through payment plans that come from the developer. This is a good principle that I use and I suggest all my clients and all my friends to use when you can actually buy in at a very early stage of that property being developed and benefit of the 0% interest from the developer itself. In this case, you might not necessarily look at the best property available, but you can also look at the best payment plans available, because that's also another way on how you can visualize the investment and how you can make it work for you. Which means that you might find a very good payment plan with obviously 0% interest from the developer that might require you to only pay a very small percentage once in 3 months or even once in half a year, and you can use it to generate that extra margin when you resell it. Imagine you sell your property during that payment plan, which means that you have invested a minimum payment that they required from you, and you've paid a little bit as well throughout those past months, where in total you have paid 20% of that 200,000 USD deal, and currently you are actually trying to sell it for a price tag of 220,000 USD. This implies a 20,000 USD profit on the deal. However, that doesn't imply a 10% return on your investment. And that is because you have made 20,000 profit on a payment that is not actually complete, which means that you only paid 20% of the full deal and you made 20,000 USD on that. And if you do the maths right, then that is actually an ROI of 50% on your investment. Since you only paid 20% of that total of 200,000, that imposes a 40,000 USD value, and you have made 20,000 USD profit on it, which means the 50% ROI. Even a 10K profit on this same deal would mean a ROI of 25% because you will have 10K on 40,000 investment. Buying and selling via payment plans doesn't necessarily mean that you always need to play long term. You can simply find a home that is almost or already built by this developer who is offering a 0% interest payment plan and use it towards generating your regular income. Although this happens much more rarely, it still happens, and there are developers who offer zero interest payment plans even after they completed construction. That way, if you are lucky to find such a deal, then you don't actually have a mortgage, you don't pay any interest to the bank, and you actually can start making money and generate regular cash flow by renting that property. Nevertheless, buying and selling via payment plans actually imply a long-term strategy. So if you're not ready to leverage your money and play with your capital long-term, then you might actually want to avoid it. However, there are still options, like I mentioned, with the constructions that are already finished, and you can already use them to rent out your property and generate cash flow. Then that's a very good case to start doing it straight away. And with that, I have covered the 3 key principles that I believe are actually the only way to start investing in property as a beginner. I truly hope that you found this information useful, and if you did so, please let me know in the comment section below, like the video, and share any ideas and thoughts that you might have so I can use them in the next video.